This might shock you, but Earth is in the middle of a mass extinction right now, and it's all thanks to us meddling humans. In fact, more than 1 in 5 species on the planet today faces extinction, and that's predicted to rise to 50% by the end of the century, unless we do something about it. But what if I told you extinction isn't as permanent as you think? Thanks to the wonders of science, we might even be able to turn back the hands of time by reviving some long lost species. So, without further ado, let's take a look at some extinct animals that might walk the earth once more. The woolly mammoth. What has huge tusks, a furry winter coat, and weighs up to 6 tons? Woolly mammoths. Duh. Of course, none of us have seen these breathtaking giants in our lifetimes because they went extinct thousands of years ago. Although they were once thought to have vanished during the last ice age, a recent discovery has revealed that the last isolated colony of around 500 to 1,000 woolly mammoths actually lived on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean as recently as 4,000 years ago. Unlike the elephants we know today, which populate habitats like the savannas of Africa and Asian jungles, woolly mammoths could be found in the tundra, which stretched across northern Asia, many parts of Europe, and the northern part of North America. Their smaller ears, shorter tails, and extra thick coats protected them from frostbite and made them well adapted to these chilly conditions there. In fact, the woolly mammoth played such an integral role in the upkeep of this environment that it has also been nicknamed the mammoth steppe. Many scientists think the woolly mammoths died off when the weather became warmer and their food supply changed. Although, unsurprisingly, it also seems like pesky humans and their habit for overhunting may have had something to do with it. But could we be seeing the woolly mammoth again sometime soon? The possibility is more likely than you'd think. Over the years, a handful of well-preserved woolly mammoth specimens have been found frozen in Siberian permafrost, and these could now be the key to reviving the long-dead species. It might sound like something from a sci-fi movie, but scientists are hopeful that we might soon see animals we once considered extinct return through something they like to call de-extinction. Before we go any further, you can make sure Be Amazed never goes extinct by following these simple steps. Just hit those like and subscribe buttons and ring that little bell icon to make sure you stay up to date. After all, the world would be a bleaker place without the kind of weird, wonderful, and downright amazing content that'll keep you entertained for hours, right? Now, let's jump back in. The possibility of resurrecting species through de-extinction has become more and more likely thanks to advances in the fields of selective breeding, genetics, and reproductive cloning technologies. In the latter part of the 20th century, tools emerged that allowed scientists to isolate and analyze DNA from the bones, hair, and other tissue of dead animals like frozen mammoths. At the forefront of these advances is a handy tool for gene modification known as CRISPR-Cas9, which can be used to isolate specific traits of mammoth DNA that could then be integrated into another animal's DNA, like a super sciencey cut and paste tool. This could come in particularly useful for bringing back the woolly mammoth because their closest relative is still living, the Asian elephant. Once the relative genes have been swapped from the extinct species into the living one, the hybrid genome would be implanted into circuit, or could even be grown ex vitro outside the mother, using an artificial womb. This approach doesn't produce genetically identical copies of extinct animals, but rather modern versions of an animal engineered to look and behave like its extinct relative. So the end result would be a sort of mammophant, well adapted to the conditions of the far north, with shorter ears and a thick, hairy coat, rather than a bona fide woolly mammoth. But why should we bring the woolly mammoth back in the first place? Well, it could actually have some major environmental benefits. According to George Church, the researcher heading up the Harvard Woolly Mammoth Revival Team, bringing back the giants could help convert the Arctic tundra back to grasslands that existed during the last ice age. You see, mammoths and other large herbivores trampling across the ancient Arctic ecosystems helped maintain the grasslands by knocking down trees and spreading grass seeds in their dung. But when these animals vanished, the ecosystem transitioned into the mossy tundra and taiga we see today, with permafrost that is starting to melt, gradually releasing harmful carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Russian geophysicist Sergei Zimov has already carried out extensive research proving that tundra can be converted back to grasslands with the reintroduction of grazing animals. With a mammoth herd taking part in something like this, the results could indeed be astounding. But how close are we to bringing the woolly mammoth back? In 2017, Church said that we could see live woolly mammoths in a couple of years, while Dr. Tom Ellis, who's leading research into synthetic biology and genome engineering at Imperial College London, thinks it'll take at least 10 years. But things are advancing every year. In 2019, top end scientists in Japan made a breakthrough when cells recovered from a 28,000-year-old preserved mammoth showed signs of life. So at this point, it certainly feels like a question of when, not if, we will see these giants walk among us again.